Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tudo Hoyan. I've been a legal practitioner for 37 years in several capacities, both as a prosecutor and an advocate. And I'm currently an advocate, and I've been an advocate now for more than 30 years. You know, the sense of MEYIWA trial, I would always say, will go down in the history of this country as one trial which just did not go or did not play by the book. We are now seeing Absalom Zungu being cross-examined by Balui. I'm talking specifically about this morning and the early afternoon. What has become clear is that that so-called affidavit deposed to by Absalom Zungu is a forgery. And it is also triple hearsay evidence. Because you'll recall that the information emanates from one Bekiseni Zungu, who then told Absalom Zungu, and Absalom Zungu is supposed to have told his son, Constable Zungu. So it is triple hearsay evidence. And we see at this stage the court, for some strange reason, long before the judgment is delivered, clearly having long made up its mind about the testimony of Absalom Zungu. Because clearly, and nobody's contesting this, the testimony of Absalom Zungu is hearsay evidence. But as hearsay evidence, one would have thought that the court would wait until when it pronounces its verdict, what it has made of that evidence. Mid-trial, we see Judge Ratha tell Absalom Zungu that Zungu evidence is not evidence before this court. So that now Balui has to proceed to say this is hearsay evidence. Of course, Absalom Zungu is saying it is hearsay evidence also. But it is fabricated, it is fabricated hearsay evidence. It is hearsay evidence that has been procured fraudulently by Gininda, allegedly because the person behind it was that other Zungu who told it to Absalom Zungu, and then Zungu from Absalom Zungu, then to Constable Zungu. Mbekiseni, that's the first Zungu. So this triple say evidence, of course, Absalom Zungu knows this is hearsay evidence. But his focus is not just that it is hearsay evidence. It is hearsay evidence that purportedly had his name been bandied about. But the story must not end there. This is the tragedy of this trial. That the court being fully aware, and Judge Ratha must be fully aware of this. There's no way he cannot be aware of this, because these things are happening right in front of his eyes. That it was intended, the forgery, which is now not even referred to as a forgery, was intended to hoodwink the court. That Absalom Zungu had deposed to an affidavit implicating accused number 1 and 2 in the killing of Senzo MEYIWA, because he had allegedly overheard a conversation wherein the accused persons implicated themselves and told him that they'd been involved in the killing of Senzo MEYIWA. But now it transpires that even Absalom Zungu, was not even there when that thing happened. When all this was said, He was not even there. It was Mbekiseni, and Mbekiseni has not come before court. But the real nature of this hearsay evidence is being deliberately sidelined and ignored by the court, that it is a forgery intended, to subvert the cause of justice by falsely implicating accused persons. But Judge Ratha is not interested in that. He has already made up his mind. And it becomes very shocking because throughout the cross-examination of Baloyi, you see Judge Ratha out to protect Baloyi against Zungu. Zungu might be a bit clumsy. Zungu is an ordinary Zulu man. He is not, legally trained. He probably is not even fully, acquainted with court procedures. But the man is oozing the truth out of him. You can see the truth coming out of him as he testifies. So he was sort of cornering Baloyi because, I remember when Baloyi said, you see, this statement that was supposed to have been procured from you, according to Zungu, the Constable Zungu, in 2019, Absalom Zungu would have none of it. The man could have, slapped Baloyi on the face if he had the opportunity to do that. He said, no, you see, this thing now is becoming, it is becoming dangerous now. How can Senzo MEYIWA die in 2014 and he's supposed to have got a statement from this Zungu or whoever, Guinea has got a statement in 2019? And the court is now interjecting, is now coming in to warn Absalom Zungu that, this is not the way things are done. You must wait until Baloyi has finished whatever he wants to finish. But Absalom Zungu, like I've always said, is standing his ground. And Baloyi is not being protected by the court. Because the one thing that this court does not want to hear is that forgery. Doesn't want to hear about that. It would rather look at that favorably for the prosecution by calling it hearsay evidence. If it is hearsay evidence and it is not evidence before the Pretoria High Court, why is Baloyi cross-examining Absalom Zungu? Why has the testimony of Absalom Zungu not just been disregarded as hearsay evidence? Because that is eventually what has happened. Because the more Zungu testifies, the more it becomes very apparent that nothing will be achieved by, Zungu trying to put his side of the story to the effect that this was a forgery. Because the court has already made his mind about this issue long before he came forward to testify, apparently. So it is a futile exercise that Absalom Zungu, determined as he is to try and clear up his name and to expose this rot. We are now exposed to the fact that, this is immaterial evidence. Let him just go on, that Baloyi just go on and cross-examine him, and whatever he says, we will just look at it as hearsay evidence, and it is of no use to the court. Is it deliberate on the part of Judge Ratha that he has already given his, verdict on the evidence? Why is the prosecution strenuously then cross-examining Absalom Zungu? If this is not evidence, it is evidence. They just want to make sure that, on record, it remains just that, hearsay evidence, so that they water down, the cross-examination, the examination in chief of Absalom Zungu. This is what is being done here. So that at the end of the day, the court will then make a ruling that it has already made, or a position that it has already taken regarding this evidence. I'll be bringing you in the next edition more and more shocking disclosures in the Senzo MEYIWA trial. This is a trial like no other. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. Let me thank you for all the views and subscriptions and likes that I'm seeing. Let us march on to the 12,000 subscriber mark. It is only a few steps away. Thank you and have a nice afternoon and evening.